Hey, my name's Matt. I recently made an ascent of Makalu, which is 8,500 metre peak in Nepal. I did it without oxygen and sherpa support. Basically, this video is just to show the equipment I used. Not all of it is the perfect thing. Some of it's just what I had, and some of it was a bit experimental. And I'll tell you what I think worked and didn't work, and hopefully give you an idea of what you could take on a climb like that if you're interested. I guess I'll start with just the usual basics. A pair of sunnies, a pair of goggles if it gets windy and cold. Don't want to go without those, that's for sure. What else? Some sunscreen, some zinc. I find that zinc's probably the only thing that can really stop sunburn up there, especially on your lips and things. So I actually carry maybe a couple of those, one in my zip pocket in my jacket and a spare one in the pack. And then just like a little Ziploc baggie with some high altitude meds, not that I ever use them, some tape, some spare batteries, headphones, and yeah, that's about it. What else is there? Yeah, just a little lightweight head torch, all you need, a battery pack, and with cables that will charge your phone, your inReach, and your head torch, so that kind of does everything. Yeah, and then a spare flint, which is, potentially life-saving. So always need to be able to start your stove, so always have a couple of those packed. And then on the outside of the pack here, I take, I actually don't use an inflatable mat, I just use a foldable mat like this. Reason being is, even though they might not be quite as comfortable, they're always reliable, never going to fail. You can, if you're just halfway through the day and you want to have a rest, you can just throw it on the ground and sit on it, and you can cook on it. If you melt it a bit, it's still going to work. May not be as good, but it's always pretty good. So yeah, I really rate these, and yeah, they're great. Then for my pack, it was a 50 litre pursuit. I hope this becomes available on the market soon. They're great packs. Very simple, frameless, very light. You can strap plenty to the outside of it, and 50 is a great size, without being too big. I have this attachment for an Nalgene water bottle. Just can use Nalgene as like a hot water bottle in your tent for hot drinks, in between your legs, keep you warm at night, and just having it there on your packs, super handy for during the day. You can refill it from a bigger pack, and just means you have to stop less and take off your pack if you get thirsty. Yeah. And then inside, I have a few things. A piss bottle. You want one that's at least a litre, nice big wide mouth, and these silicone type ones, this is a Hydra Pack one, they do well in the cold, so if it freezes a bit, they won't crack or anything like that. I haven't had any issues with this, and it's nice and collapsible, so it's not taking up too much space in my pack. And a bit of a writing on the top, so no one accidentally puts their water in there. And then I have just a spare 1 litre for melting snow, filling that up and drinking out of when I'm in camp, or just so I don't have to keep the stove running all the time and melting fresh water out of snow all the time. That's quite good. And then I just carried a little jet boil, light stove. Was pretty happy with it. Definitely worked every time. Struggled a bit at 7,500 meters, but yeah, for the weight, yeah, pretty happy with that. Yeah. What else is there? Even though I don't carry a nice comfy mat, I do carry a pillow. Some people might think that's funny, but I'm sick of trying to sleep on jackets, and I'm generally wearing all my clothing to sleep. So a pillow makes a big difference to a comfy night, and yeah, for the size and the weight, it's one luxury that's definitely worth taking. I also carry just a little titanium or little metal bowl. This actually fits inside a gas canister, so it doesn't take up too much space on its own. And a spoon, use it to, can use it on the stove if I have to, cook with it. Pretty handy, eat breakfast out of it, eat dinner out of it, soups. Yeah, that's my, yeah, pretty good, happy with that. And then for my harness, I just had a really lightweight BD harness, not that, just want something really light doesn't weigh too much. Didn't take too much in terms of technical gear. Makalu is not a very technical mountain. Well, normal route isn't. Just one ice clipper, this to clip to my tools. I didn't take an ATC, I prefer figure 8. If you're going down fixed lines or something, you can put it in like sports mode. It's just easier to get a rope through and use some different friction methods, because you're not really rappelling either. So it's good to have different options there. I didn't take a hand descender, they're quite heavy and not really using it that much. I just took a micro traction and clipped it to a lanyard. A lot of people probably would hate that, but I thought it was enough. And once again, it's nice and light, and this is really versatile. If someone fell in a crevasse, you can use it for rescues, and it's got a pulley on it. So yeah, that's about it for that. Next thing is a thermos. So I think these are a must-have. Even though I only had one, I would definitely maybe consider taking 2. These are it's called an ultimate thermos by the brand Thermos. These are really light. It's almost a litre. Keeps the water warm for up to 24 hours. Means on the summit day you don't have water, bottles freezing, so you can actually drink. There's no point carrying a kilo block of ice up a mountain. Yeah, definitely really rate these, and wouldn't go into the hills with that one. Then what I had was a snow shovel, just a light one. I didn't even take the full handle because it's mostly just used for digging a platform at camp or chipping around, get some water for drinking, and yeah, that's about it. So as light as you can get, I reckon, for a snow shovel, if at all. I didn't take it above 6,800 meters because just everything adds up and every gram counts, and I could get away without it, so I did. Then for a tent, I actually had, this is a modified Bibbler tent. I cut out the original floor and put in a Dyneema floor. It was less than 50 grams per square meter for the fabric. Actually saved quite a bit of weight and a lot more packable. Was pretty happy with this. I hope that I can get some tents made that use some of these ideas. which include a vestibule, which I took up to 6,800 meters, which zips onto the front and just uses a trekking pole. This weighs 270 grams, and you know, it makes it a lot more livable, but then when you still want to go to the summit, you got something nice and light and you know, really functional. So yeah, I was really happy with that. I'd do it again. And then the poles for the tent, whatever. And then for a sleeping bag, I just had a Macpac Epic 600. It was actually plenty warm. I slept in my down suit. I'd actually consider taking a lighter sleeping bag next time, depending. But yeah, yeah, really happy with that. It was fine. Another thing about these backpacks, which I really like, I don't think I've talked about enough, and as part of my sleeping system, is the back pad, which comes out. And you can double that up with your sleeping pad to give you a bit more insulation. As you can see, it covers your body pretty well from your shoulder down to my knees. So that's beefing up that other mat to give me enough insulation, and also it will make, I left that at the high camp, and then it just made this pack like really light. I think it's got to be sub 1 kilo. So, you know, that's all you need for the summer push, and yeah, so it's good. For my ice axe, I took a Gravel North Machine carbon. It's probably a little bit overkill for the technical aspect of Makalu, but it is just what I had, so I took it. My ideal tool, that probably doesn't exist, but would be probably something like a carbon fiber gully or something like that. And that's one of the reasons why I do like this tool, because the carbon fiber handles don't transfer the heat the same way as an aluminium tool, so your hand doesn't get cold using it, and you can actually get frostbite just hanging on to like an icy tool, because it just transfers the cold into your hand. And if you're using it and you can't let go of it, then you're not left with too many options. So a carbon gully would be amazing, but otherwise I'm still really happy with this, and these are a great all-round tool. For if I had to only ever have one tool, this would probably be it. Yeah, it's good. Crampons, once again, probably these are a little bit overkill. These are just a Petzl monopoint. Do have an anti-balling plate, probably a little heavy, but I never want to have to worry about these lightweight crampons. They can sometimes, if you're going over mixed terrain, you can damage the Dynamis strings and they can break, and you just don't ever have to be dealing with something like that on your summit day. So you want something really bulletproof. I think it's your connection point to the mountains, so you want something you can 100% rely on and won't let you down. That's probably more important than weight, I think. But yeah, I'd probably get something a little bit lighter next time. And then for my boots, I took a pair of, these aren't a pair, but this is a pair of G2SMs. They're a double boot. They were pretty good. Where, as you might know, I did suffer from some frostbite. And where my G2SMs let me down, which is my own fault, is they were probably a bit too small. Even though I'd had them for 5 years and been using them in the mountains, my feet had probably stretched a bit and over the years, and I probably should have sized up. Also, my feet are quite wide. I think looking at some of the inner soles of my other shoes, I'll have negative 15 centimeters at the front space, and then my feet will be like plus 15 centimeters across the width. So I'm going to be definitely looking around for wide boots, because part of the reason why I got frostbite was due to the compression against my foot and the circulation just not being able to get there because they're getting squeezed so much. So wide boots with plenty of toe room are a must. I did use the VBL socks. Mixed thoughts on those now. Although they're great for not introducing moisture into your boot, which can then refreeze and make the boot colder. They're kind of a bit problematic in just their poor fit, and these ones are just a cheap nylon, so they're not 100% waterproof, and moisture still does get in, because you can see the steam come out the boot when you take them off. The other thing I took, which I probably wouldn't be using again, even though I like the principle of the super gaiter going over the top to give you the insulation for the summit push. These ones are just made of neoprene, and they can absorb moisture, so they actually went a bit worse on this trip because it was warmer, and which means that the snow's wet. When it was colder, snow stayed dry, they didn't really absorb any moisture, but when it got warmer, they absorbed moisture, and then when I fell asleep in the tent and when I got my frostbite, they refroze and made everything cold. So I would be looking to do something a bit better than these if I was going to go down the super gaiter route again. Then, what was next? My glove system, I tried to simplify as much as I could. As you can see, like even that little pile, it does add up, and you can fall into the trap of having lots of spare gloves and this and that. In the end, I simply took a light pair of liners like this, fleecy MacPack liner gloves, Power Shield, good for, just out of base camp, keeping your hands a little bit warmer. Can be used as a liner underneath everything, and just a versatile light little glove. Up from that, I used these rubber gloves. I actually wore these up to like 7,500 meters. 100% waterproof, never get wet, because they're just like a dishwashing glove, basically, insulated dishwashing glove. Really rate these, and can still do things in them like set up a tent, or even collecting snow for drinking and for boiling and all that kind of stuff. They're perfect. On the summit push, I wore just a lobster mitt, MacPack lobster mitt. I love lobster mitts basically because you can still do everything you need to. If you get a cold finger, you can just pull it out and pop it in and you wear it like a mitten. And then, but it still means that you have all the function of a normal glove. Means if you're clipping into ropes, trying to put people on belay, anything like that, it's still really functional, but as warm as you can get for a glove. And then over that, I had just a big mitt that goes over the top, that just in case it got really cold, and I did for a little while wear these on the summit push, so that all worked out fine. I also had these super lightweight little booties just in the tent when you pop them on over your socks, and helps dries out your feet and just keep your feet warm. Yeah, they're great. Weigh as much as a pair of socks, so always room for those. Then for clothing system, I wore just a lightweight merino wool thermal. I always have to wear merino against my skin, especially on my shoulders and things, just because I'll get just the synthetic fibers on my skin for days. Just generally isn't very good. But then over that I had like a Pro Thermal, which is, you know, I love the hoods on these. I don't bother taking a beanie because the hood fits so well, and you know, handy little pocket for your lip balm and spare battery and whatever. I also had a MacPack onesie, very good, power stretch, fleecy on the inside, great because just don't get any cold spots in your middle, very warm, and you can stick a loo in it and basically live in these. Yeah, love those. And then going over that, I had basically a pair of Pisa pants and a Pisa jacket. Once again, it's just kind of like a mid layer. Try not to take too many different mid layers. This is probably the most versatile, good warmth weight ratio, and yeah. And then for once it got cold enough, basically it's good to have, I aim to have just layers that I could just put things on top of. So I wasn't taking off a shell pant or, you know, some thing that everything just got added to. So it all accumulated to my total insulation instead of being, you know, taking things off and then putting on a down suit. It was just added to the final warmth. And I didn't have a down suit exactly. It was just a two-piece system. Just means that when you're hanging around at lower camps and all you need to do is put on a top, then you can put on a top. And if you're coming back down and you're getting too hot, you can just take off your top and just have the bottoms on. So they're just way more versatile having a two-piece system than it is a single down suit. This is quite light, and I was pretty happy with it. Only things I might change next time is I might get some squeezy bottles put in, holders for squeezy bottles, just because I just think I only carried maybe 2 litres or 2.5 litres for what was like close to a 24-hour day, which isn't really enough. And one of those bottles half froze by the time I got back was halfway back down. So some squeezy bottles against your body help keep it warmer for longer, and could be a really good addition to these. And then the top was just a anorak style jacket, less zips, keeps the weight down, two pockets, just for your hands and for stashing gloves or anything like that. Gives you another option. If you drop the glove or something, you can always put your hand in your jacket. Yeah, no, I was pretty happy with that. And the only other thing I have to add was, I took a helmet. I didn't wear it on the summit bush, but I did wear one going up everywhere else. And I did take this up to 6,800 meters and stashed it. It was just to have, while I was acclimatizing, it's a hyperbaric chamber. Basically, this is an LT prototype, and could save someone's life or my own if got altitude sickness. Pretty simple little device, especially if you're not going to be using oxygen. It could be a really handy thing to have around. Definitely above base camp where you may need it most. And that's it. That's what I took on Makalu. Hope that gives you a bit of an idea on kinds of things you might need to take and how I did it. Thanks. Bye.